everybody, it's Michelle, and today I've got for you an intermediate advanced level mat Pilates class. So it's going to be full body, and we're going to do some really fun, kind of tricky exercises to push your practice a little bit beyond your limits. Okay, so we're going to challenge our balance, our stability. We're going to do a lot of articulating and rolling through the spine, so a lot of work for the abdominals. So if you're ready, we'll just get right to it. So to warm up, we're going to start seated on your mat. Have one leg out straight in front of you and have the other one bent with the foot flat down. Okay, I like to flex the other foot just to feel nice and active. Now, grab onto the bent knee with your hands. You can hold it around your kneecap or around the back, whatever's more comfortable. And just grab onto it and pull your body up into a nice tall sitting position. Now, take a breath in. As you exhale, you're just going to fold forward over the leg and then inhale to sit back up. And then do that again. Exhale to fold and then inhale to stack. Good. So trying not to flatten out over your leg, but keep a little bit of space. We're really rounding the spine. The pelvis stays nice and stable. Very good. Let's do that one more time. Good. Now pause upright. Now, when we round the spine, we're also going to move the pelvis. So we're going to tuck under and roll away from our long leg and then sit back up tall. Yeah, scoop under and roll and then lift. Good. So your arms might get straight as you roll back and then they can bend to help pull you back up. You might notice your straight legs sliding in and out a little bit. That's all good. Try to anchor your bent leg foot down. Yeah, and you can adjust it to make it more comfortable to get fully upright. So whether that's scooting the foot forward or back. Very good. All right, now we're going to progress this even further. Now instead of rolling halfway back, we're going to roll fully down onto the mat. The bent leg foot will come off the floor. You're going to stretch it in towards you. Nod your chin, kick into the hands, place the foot down, and sit back up tall. And do that again. We can flow it together. So we roll down, we stretch the knee to the chest, nod the chin, and then sit up tall. Good. Do that a few more times. 1, stretch the knee. 2, kick into the hands, and that leverage does a lot to bring you back up. Yes, let's do that 2 more times. So if we were doing this without the arms, it would be a totally different experience. So we get more of a stretch than anything else. All right, now let's stay down on the mat and just pause with this knee stretching in towards us here for a second. Take a nice breath in and out and feel like your other leg is sliding away from you on the mat. All right, now bring your arms down next to you by your sides. Reach that leg that we'd been stretching up to the ceiling. Good. Now get it as straight as you can and just start drawing a nice little one-leg circle. Okay, so start with this being a nice contained movement. So try not to let the hips or the spine rock around. Yeah, get this nice smooth circle. Now let's try to make this circle a little bit bigger, and you're welcome to let your pelvis move a little bit. Yeah, so see how big of a circle you can draw in those 2 directions. So the pelvis can roll a little bit. Your hands are on the floor to keep you stable. Let's do one more. Good. Now pause at the top. Start small again. So it's your biggest circle that you can do without your torso moving. Good. So both sides of the pelvis are staying down. Now, as we increase the size, our hips can roll around a little bit, so we get more freedom of movement, and we get a little bit of a bigger circle going on. Yeah, let's do that one more time. Now just pause with the leg up to the ceiling, bend the knee, take one nice last stretch, and then you'll nod your chin and come back up to sitting. Very good. All right, let's do that with the other leg. So new knee is bent. Place the foot down, take a breath in, and then exhale to fold. Drop the head over the knee, and then inhale to stack. Good. So for now, it's really the spine, not the hips that are the mover. That'll come next. Okay, let's do one more here. Now, as we round the back, we roll away from the legs and then we stack up tall. Good. Kind of anchor that flat foot into the floor and allow the straight leg to slide if it wants to, forward and back a little bit. Very good. Really carve out the abdominals, low back towards the floor. So you get this nice stretch between the shoulder blades and right at the small of your back. All right, now turning this into a full roll down, try to turn the brakes on and slow yourself down as you find the mat. Pull the knee to your chest, and then we reverse that by kicking and just letting that leverage pull us back up to sitting. Good. So it is some good work for the hip flexor of this long leg, and then for the back of the bent leg as we kick into the arms. Very good, you guys. Couple more times. So we're going to do a lot of rolling through the spine on the mat during today's workout. So this is really kind of priming us up, rolling us through this position to kind of get us ready for all the fun stuff we're going to do later on. All right, now on your next one, lay down and stay. Leg is going to come into your chest. Just take a little extended stretch here. Use that straight leg as part of this stretch. So feel like someone's pulling it away from you. All right, now let's go into the circling of our single leg. So nice and neutral through the spine, leg as straight as it can comfortably be. Now start drawing your circle. You can start in whichever direction that you'd like because we're going to do both. Very good. So just take some nice deep breaths in and out. Try to leave both sides of the hips down for now, so that way we can really feel the difference, like now when we start to make it a little bit bigger. So allow the hips to roll off one by one and just see what happens. Yeah, my leg stays anchored, my arms stay anchored. It's a lot bigger movement. Good. Now pause at the top. Start again with those smaller contained circles. Good. Feel the ribs melting. Notice if your shoulders are caving off the floor. Try to eliminate any tension we don't need. All right, now make that circle bigger. Allow a little bit of rocking and rolling of the pelvis side to side. Keep that nice smooth breath going. Let's do one more big circle. Good. Now pause at the top. Bring your knee to your chest for one last stretch. And then kick into the arms to sit yourself back up tall. Very nice. All right. Okay, next, like we talked about, we're going to be rolling through our spine. So make sure you have quite a bit of mat behind you. So I'm going to scoot forward a little bit and we're going to do a little rolling like a ball. So lift your legs up to tabletop, squeeze the knees together, and take a light grip with your hands on the backs of your legs. All right, now let's just start with a little prep to get into this movement. So I'm already starting in a slight C curve. My low back is tucked under. I'm going to use my arms to support me here, and we're going to tuck under very, very slowly until our low back hits the mat, but not my shoulder blades, just the low back. Now reverse that, really draw the belly button back. You can use your arms as much as you need to come back to the start position. Do that again. So we exhale, kind of present the low back down, and then carve back away. Good. The slower the better, and the less your legs rock around, the better. There might be a little bit of movement, but we don't want to be tossing the legs forward and back. Let's do that 2 more times. So really feeling how you have to aim that low back to the floor and then up. Yes, if we're not really getting that low back flush with the ground, it's going to feel herky and jerky and not very smooth when we start rolling. All right, so into our tall position. Now, we were kind of using our arms on that one. Let's try to have a softer grip with the arms now. Exhale to get ready. Now breathe in. You're going to carve your abs back, kind of like how we practiced, and roll up onto your shoulder blades, and then come back and find a moment of balance. And then do that again. So we breathe in at the top, exhale to pause. Good. Now my back is trying to stay in this C shape the whole time. So there's no tossing of my head. There's no straightening out of the spine. We just stay curled up like a little roly-poly bug. All right, let's do this couple more times till we feel like we've got the hang of it. Okay. Good. Make sure you're not rolling all the way up onto your neck. You want to keep it all in the shoulder blades, okay? All right, and then come up and take a little break. Feet can come down. All right, so next we're going to add on a circle of the arms. All right, so now we won't have the arms to help support the legs, so a little bit more challenging. So find our same start position, except you're going to reach the arms long next to your legs. Now let's practice this arm circle before we put it together. So I want you to inhale and just reach the arms up. Exhale, circle them around and down. Okay, so find how big of a circle you can have. Just kind of get the arms ready for what they're about to do. All right, so now when the arms are overhead, that's when we're going to be upside down. So we breathe in, arms are up behind us, and then as we find our sitting bones, they circle around and up. Do that again. Inhale to roll, exhale to come upright. Ooh, and you might have your feet hit the floor every now and then. Just kind of course correct when that happens. Bring the feet back up. Yes, couple more times. Play around with the angle of your legs. You want to feel like you can come up and find a moment of stillness before you start again. Yes, if your feet keep hitting the floor, it might mean that you're trying to come too far forward onto your pelvis. So leave the weight behind the sitting bones. All right, now at the top, if you'd like an extra challenge, we're going to pause, straighten the legs into a teaser, bend, and then go into our rollback with the arm circle. A few more times. 1, 2, and then we roll back and return. So good. A couple more times. I like to kind of lift my arms just to match the line of my legs. That's not necessary, but it feels kind of good. Yeah, let's do 2 more here, and then we're going to reverse the direction of our circle. All right, let's do 1 more time, and then let's see if we can just go right into it. No breaks. Ready? Reverse the arm, circle around, find your balance, and then reach and bend. Good. If you want to do a few without the teaser first, you go for it. But I think I'm just diving right in and then up. Good. And of course, that's optional. If it's not happening for you today, no pressure. You stick with the version that's jiving with you the best. So good, you guys. Last one. Circle. And then set the feet down. So next, we're going to continue this rolling for 1 more little series. Okay, we're going to do some rollovers and some jackknives, which are some really fun, challenging exercises. All right, so legs are going to start out straight. Again, you want plenty of room behind you on your mat. Okay, take the arms, reach them forward, and hollow over your legs. So now keep your arms parallel with the legs rather than drooping. So my arms and legs should look like a equal sign. Okay, lined up with each other. Now we're going to roll back very slowly. My legs are squeezing together. As soon as my hands can touch the mat, I'm going to push down, roll through imprint, and send my legs overhead. Now just reverse that action, tuck under, nod the chin. Now as my legs are still in the air, I'm already rolling up and trying to arrive at the same time as my feet touch. Let's do that again. We roll away. As soon as my hands can touch the mat, I start pushing. So my legs are lifting before my back is even fully down. I use the pressure of the hands to help. Now look, my head is up and I'm still pretty far back with those legs, and then softly touch the legs down. That might be the hardest part, is not having a thump of the legs on the way up. So we're using very little momentum. You want to feel like you have the brakes on the whole time. Ooh, like you're driving in the car down a really, really steep hill. Yes, you have a little bit of a slow down the entire time. All right, you guys, let's do this 1 more time. Now, of course, if you're struggling, you can use a little momentum and toss the legs if that's helpful to you. Now, let's get upside down and stay. Lift the feet up to the ceiling and then fold back in half. Do that again. So my hip joint is staying put and I'm just extending my feet towards the sky and then down. You want to find where that point is for you. That's just before you lose your balance and feel like you're going to topple over towards your feet. Yes, 2 more. So push with the hands. Now pause with the legs up and just drop one leg at a time. So I'm going to inhale as I split, exhale to push up. Now focus a little more on the top leg than the dropping leg. You'll see when I drop my foot, my other leg tries to get closer to the sky. That's it, last two. Now on your last one, let's leave our legs up and try to roll down with the legs as far from us as we can. Then nod your chin and stretch back over the legs. Ooh, how was that? That was a lot. Let's try that again. Now that we've seen it once, let's give it another go. So here we go. Round the back, tuck under, push. Now watch your feet leave the mat and then curl up and over. All right, now lift up and down a couple times. These are good ones to revisit again. Yes, kind of can be overwhelming the first time we do it. So now that we've digested a little bit, what we're doing should be a little better. Now pause at the top, drop one leg and return. Drop and return. Keep some weight in the hands. Make sure your chin is off your chest. Last one. Pause. Now keep those legs away from you. Whew, that's a lot more challenging. Nod the chin and then stretch forward. Wow, so good, you guys. That was not easy at all. All right, so switching gears a little bit, we're going to come down onto our side. You're going to support your head in your bottom hand. Now, don't be tempted to just like slump and hang out like you're watching TV. So you want to have your head really actively pushing so you feel your neck kind of stiff and strong, and there should be almost a tiny gap underneath your shoulder here, okay? So we don't want to be relaxing. We want to be pushing this elbow through the floor. Now, my bottom leg kicks forward and flexes. This leg is going to be like my kickstand to help me not fall over, all right? Now take your other hand to hold onto your head as well. So my head is kind of even between my elbows. If you're having trouble, you can use the hand on the mat. All right, now top leg is long. Just start by reaching this leg forward and back and seeing your range in these two directions. Good, keeping the leg parallel and hip height is going to be really important, okay? Don't be tempted to kick it way up in the air. You're going to lose all that good work for the inner side of the hamstring and for the glutes. All right, now let's go into a bicycle kick. So when you brush the leg back, keep it way back there as you bend your knee, heel comes close to your sitting bone, and then you kick forward. So I brush, bend, and then kick. And your leg can probably go back a little further than mine. I'm bumping into the wall behind me. So feel free to get a big, nice stretch through the thigh before you bend. Good, and if you want to switch up by pointing and flexing your foot, if that feels good, feel free. All right, now our last little addition, we're going to rotate our torso in opposition to the leg. So when my leg goes back, I'm going to rotate forward. When my leg comes front, I'm going to twist back and look at the ceiling. Yes, a lot of good work for the obliques. We twist and then return. And it's like my whole upper body is one unit. My elbows, my arms, my head, they stay in the same exact relationship to each other. Let's do that 2 more times. Twist and switch. Now pause in the twist with that leg back, and we're just going to do little tiny tap and lifts for 7, 6, 5, 4, good, 3, feel this underarm on, 1, and then go ahead and rest. Whew. Very good. That's not easy to balance when we're just on this bottom elbow, so well done. All right, so now get back into that same starting place with the leg kicked forward, the head between the hands. Okay, now we're going to flex the foot and do 2 kicks forward. 1, pulse even further. 2, point the foot and brush the leg behind us. Okay, so kind of in the same plane of movement, just a different pattern for the leg. Good. Now the goal is to keep your low back nice and neutral, so don't tuck your tail, just let it come from the hip. All right, now the spinal movement we're going to add here is a side bend. So it's going to be a lot of work for this lat. As I kick back, I'm going to pretend like I'm dragging my mat towards me, lifting my ribs off the floor. And then we do that again. Kick, kick, and then we pull and lift. Now, if you ever need some support, place this hand on the mat, or you can also bend your bottom knee. Okay, let's do this a couple more times. It feels really good through the spine and the upper back. So good for that underarm. Let's do that 2 more times. Lift, 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 lift. So good. Now on our last one, just like before, we're going to hold the position and tap the leg up and down, up and down. So connected. 4, 3, 2, 1, and then come all the way down. Very nice, you guys. All right, so now take a break from that arm position. You're going to reach your arm out long with your palm down. Now both legs are going to be straight in line with our spine. Okay, so we're going to do a little bit of a double leg lift. Top hand can be on the mat for now, lifted through the waistline. Now as we breathe out, you're going to float both legs off of the ground and then inhale to touch them back down. So now getting a little inner thigh work as well as the work for the outer thighs. All right, now when the legs float up, you don't want to collapse the waistline into the floor. So you keep that opposition of keeping lifted. All right, okay. Now, next thing that's going to happen is we're going to add a side bend. So I'm going to push into my top hand, pull my bottom arm along the mat, and then return back to the floor. Very good. Do that again. So both arms are working. That underarm on the bottom, that pec and shoulder on the top arm. Good. So you want to feel kind of equal lift from spine and legs. So if one goes too far, it'll prevent the other one from reaching its kind of potential lift. All right. One more time. Long neck. Whew. Now take this top arm and rest it on your side. So here's the next level up. Ready? Continue with that same movement, except the top arm isn't there to help us. And then we lower down. So you're trying to reach as if your fingertips could find your kneecap and then lower down. Good. Do that 2 more times. Lift and then lower. Awesome. Last one. And then rest. So good. All right, final one. So fun, kind of the culmination of all of this work we've been doing. So we're going to go into a side body twist. So we start with our side bend and we're going to end up in a teaser. All right, sounds crazy, but I know we can do it. So here we go. We're going to start with our side bend. Now, tuck under, bend your knees here just to get the practice. Lift your chest and reach your arm up to the ceiling. Now just straighten your legs, slide back along the floor, and end up on your side. Let's do that again. So we start with a side bend. Now I tuck under and roll my tail back onto the mat. Bend the knees, tippy toes on the floor, lift. And then we reverse that, tuck under, and open back up. So good. If you need to grab onto your legs to help you get here, it's all good. Just give it a try. All right, now you can either continue with the prep or try the full exercise, keeping the legs straight and hinging at the hips. Ready? We side bend. Now we tuck under and just lift the feet up to meet us in this V teaser shape, and then roll to the mat. And chest back, chin lifted. Good, let's do that 2 more times. So we side bend first, then we tuck and roll, and then we uncurl and lengthen out. So good, you guys. 2 more. Curl and lift. And then lower down. Amazing. Last time, you do the version that's working best for you. And then come back to the mat. Wow, awesome. Good job. Those are not easy. All right, come on to your new side. Head in your hands, elbow down. Okay, bottom leg is kicked forward. Amazing. All right, so now press the head down. Feel a little levitation under that shoulder. Long top leg. All right, so just start by sweeping the leg front to back. Seeing how far we can go without tipping over. Good. Now, if the leg goes up too high, we're going to disconnect from the inner thighs a little bit. So try to leave the leg nice and parallel. All right, now let's add our bicycle kick. So we brush back, flex the knee, kick front. Yeah, and if it feels good, you can flex the foot on the brush back, point it to return. Good, so little to no movement in the upper body, and keep it all in that hip. All right, now adding in the spine, we go in opposition to the leg. So when the leg is back, we're looking at the floor. When the leg is front, we look at the ceiling. Good. Keeping those elbows in that same relationship to each other. Tip and then return. So that bottom elbow is really the point that we're kind of twisting around. Last two. So good. Last one. Now pause with the twist and the leg behind us and do teeny tiny little lifts. Try to stay parallel. Up, up. Neck is stiff and strong. 4, 3, 2, 1, and then relax. Awesome. All right. Next, we do our kicking action and our side bend. So top leg long, flex the foot. Let's do just the leg action first. So we kick twice to the front, one long reach and stretch to the back. 1, 2, and then kick and lengthen. Good. Parallel. So if you like, the ankle action is to flex on the way front, point on the way back. Yes, if you press far enough in parallel, you'll feel a nice stretch and opening of that hip flexor, which feels amazing. All right, here we go. Now adding the side bend, tons of work for that bottom arm. Pull the armpit and ribs away from the ground and then softly return. So we're not clunking to the mat. And lift. Very good. Inhale to the front. Exhale, lift. So good. Let's do 2 more times. Keep that same awesome leg action we found. Now pause. At the top, my ribs are up, and we do our little tiny pulses. Good. Up, up. 4, 3, 2, 1, and then relax. Ooh, wow. All right, let's straighten both of our legs now. Squeeze the ankles together. Top hand on the mat. All right, chin back. Tendency is to kind of curl up on ourselves here, so try to stay long. Lift both legs up on the exhale and then return to the mat. Lift and lower. Yes, so by kind of layering on these exercises piece by piece, makes it really easy to just scale it back if once things get too crazy, it's too much for you. So it's good. Just stick with the level you're at, okay, if that happens. So the next thing we're going to add on is our side bend. So we use both arms. We slide the bottom hand in a little and then lengthen. Up and then down. So good. Try to keep that same nice lift of the legs. And then lower. All right, 2 more. And then we're going to take away our top hand as a helper. Okay, let's give it a try. You can always bring it back if you need to. Glide that top shoulder down and away, and then lower. Exhale, glide and reach, float the feet, and down. So good. That top rib and hip, try to get close to each other. Last 2. Awesome, you guys. I know this is not easy. You can do it. Last one. All right, now going into our side body twist, let's do a couple of the preps with bent knees first. So here we go. We exhale, hover the legs, tuck under and roll to our sitting bones, bend the knees and lift. And then we tuck and roll. Just hit the rewind button and come back to the floor. Good. So I scoop under. I nod my chin, both the sitting bones end up down, and then we reverse it. Awesome, you guys. Let's do one more time. Side bending first. Really use this bottom arm along the mat, and then we come down. All right, now lifting our legs straight up. Give it a try, and then backtrack if needed. We lift and find the length, and then return and lengthen. Good. Couple more times. And then up. You want to feel like you're really rolling through an imprinted spine. as we rotate. So really tuck the low back. That's going to help to smooth out that transition. Last one. And then come down to the mat and relax. Well done. All right. Okay, next we're going to flip over onto our stomachs. So come on down. We're going to start on our elbows. Okay. And do a little bit of work for the back of the body. So come on to the elbows. You want your legs about hip width apart and parallel. Okay, now this is kind of a tricky position. So it takes a lot of work from the scapula and a ton from the glutes and the abdominals to kind of find it, okay? So my forearms are down. Just start totally relaxed. So your ribs are on the mat. Your abs are just kind of hanging out and we're just laying here, okay? So now this would be the wrong thing for what we want to do for this next exercise. So to find the right thing, I want you to dig the elbows into the floor, draw your belly button up, squeeze your glutes, and try to pull your abs off of the mat. Your rib cage leaves, and then go ahead and just relax back to where we started. Okay, so we kick the feet into the floor, try to draw the kneecaps away from the ground a little, and then lower down. So feel all those different muscle groups and how they have to fire to find this position, okay? Now, once we stay there a little longer, endurance-wise, it gets tricky to maintain it, but always try to come back to that nice position we're finding. So now, lift up and stay, and I just want you to pull one heel towards your buns, and then push the foot back to the floor. So I fold, try to bring my heel towards my seat, and then push away. Now when you bend the knee, try to not let the back slump and your abs get to the floor. You want to keep that drawing up. Good, so you're really actively squeezing your hamstring. Make sure the leg is staying parallel. All right, now let's do a little double pulse. So we do 2 times, 1, 2, and then every time my foot goes down, I smush it into the floor. And then again, 1, 2, and then push. 1, 2, and then push. It's almost like I had wet sponges under the tops of my feet, and every time I set my foot down, I'm trying to squeeze the water out. Push. All right, the next level is to add in the ankle. So first pulse, my foot is pointed. Second pulse, it's flexed, and then I re-point it to set it down. So 3 moves. 1, 2, down, 3. 1, 2, down, 3. Good. That's not easy, especially when it's happening behind us. We kind of can't see what's going on. 1, 2, press. You can start to speed it up a little bit. Let's do a few more. Squeeze those legs in towards each other. Don't let them splay out. Last one. Oh, and then you can go ahead and rest on the mat for a second. Good, you guys. That's a tricky one. All right. Next, bring the legs all the way together. And now we're going to do a little bit of action with 2 legs pulsing at the same time. All right. So my head is going to lay down on my hands, ankles squeeze together. Good. Now just bend your knees and then straighten your knees. So kind of like we did up on our elbows, bring the heels to your seat and then return. Kind of helps to have the legs together. Yeah, we can really squeeze the inner thighs. Good. All right, now let's try the double pulses here. So we do 2 little bounces and then push the feet down. Yes, and if we're really being active, this is a ton of work, yeah? So not just throwing the legs around. 1, 2, and push. So good. Couple more. 1, 2, and push. Last 2. Last one. Keeping those abs up. That's almost the hardest part. And then rest. Whew. All right. Now, to go into a full tricky exercise, we're going to turn our head to the side. So it's going to be a lot of coordination. Place one ear on the floor. Now, arms are going to rest across your back. So I've got my hands kind of on my lumbar spine, and then just relax till your elbows are hopefully touching the mat. Maybe if you're a little tighter in the shoulders, they might not touch. But it feels pretty good to kind of stretch them out. So my legs are long. We do our 2 pulses in this position. 1, 2. Now as my legs get straight, I'm going to separate them, externally rotate, and try to reach my arms back. Look at the floor. My legs have turned out. Now I look to the other side, bring everything back into center to lay down. Confusing enough for you? Let's do the other side. Now here we go. We go 2 bounces. Now my legs straighten. I turn and look to the other side, and then I lay back down and relax. So good. Do that again. 1, 2, and then kick and reach and twist. Good. Couple more times. Once you get the flow of it, it really feels nice. Yeah, with your arms, you almost want to feel like there's little doorknobs back there floating in space, and you kind of grab onto them and you turn the doorknobs with your arms and then lay down. All right, let's do this 3 more times. Now that we're getting the hang of it, it should be a little bit smoother. Good. 2 more times. Last one. In, and then stretch. Ooh, and then lay yourself down. So good. All right, push back onto your heels. Take a quick little shell stretch to kind of adjust from being on our stomachs. All right, you guys, we got one last little series. So come onto your hands, tuck your toes under, reach your knees back so that they're not under your hips, but more open, shoulders over your hands. All right, here we go. So we're going to find this nice plank, spread the shoulder blades out. Now all I want you to do is straighten your legs to come up into a full plank and then soften your knees back down. Okay, now not much else should have to change besides the knees extending and flexing. So we try to leave everything else solid. If you're having some trouble, you're welcome to do one knee at a time if that feels a little bit better to you. All right, we're just kind of getting used to being up in this plank position. First time here today, so kind of get familiar with it. Really spread your fingers out, push into your fingertips. Let's do 2 more times. You can have the feet as wide as you'd like. About hip width apart is a good place to start. Now pause in your plank and just rock forward and back. From your ankles, your wrists will get a nice little mobilization. Good. Now all of these little pieces are building us up to a full exercise. So really find each piece, get it in your body, and then we're going to build onto it. Good. Now set your knees down and rest. Whew. All right. So we practiced the plank, we practiced the ankle rocks. Now we're going to do some single leg lifts. So here we go. Knees down. We lift up to find our plank. Now just start floating and tapping, alternating legs. And again, we don't want to have to lift our hips much. Keep everything solid. Good. 3. Long head and tail. 2. 1. And then set our knees down. Whew. All right. Okay, next we're going to add on the rock of the ankles with the lift of the legs. Okay. So here we go. Get up into your plank. Lift one leg up. I want you to rock back towards your heel, forward towards your toes, and then put your foot down. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. So I lift, rock back, return, and lower. Up, back, front. Whoo, last one. Back, front, and then set your foot down and relax. Okay. The final addition is going to be to move our ankles. So this is where it gets a little trippy coordination-wise, okay? But let's give it a try. So when we rock back, our foot is going to point, okay? That's the only addition, really. So find our plank, lift one leg. My foot is flexed because that's how it comes off the floor. Now I rock back and point, rock forward and flex, and lower. 1, point, flex, lower. Lift, rock, front, down. Few more. And if the feet are just too much to think about, go on without them. It's all good. Let's do last one. Whew, and then come down. Whew, that's a lot of brain work. Good job. All right, you guys, we're gonna do one last fun little exercise. So it's kind of a variation on the snake on the reformer, except bringing it down to the mat, okay? Now I'm gonna do this with crossed ankles. If that's too intense for you, just leave both feet on the floor in a regular plank like we just did, okay? So I want you to, let's start up in kind of a downward dog, okay, just to get into this. Now bring your feet kind of together so they're touching. Push the floor away from you. Now lift your heels as high as they can go. Okay, now our heels are going to try to stay high like this the whole time. Now cross one ankle over the other and hook them together. Okay, now this exercise is the snake, so really articulate the spine. So start from your tail. You're going to tuck under, roll out till you end up in a long line. Now reverse that, start from the chin, nodding, and then I roll through, tailbone is very last. Let's do that again. Now you might have to adjust how close your hands are to your feet till it feels about right. Okay, now remember the modification is that you can put both feet side by side if you need to. All right, the next thing we're going to add on is an extension at the bottom. So if you feel comfortable, your hips are going to go a little lower, your chest and eyes go higher, and then we reverse it. So be mindful, only do it if that feels okay in your body. Ooh, and we're balancing on that single little point of our toes. So good, you guys. Let's do this a few more times. Take a break if you need it. If you'd like, that leg that's crossed behind is going to come up at the top, and then as we roll through, my ankles recross and we look up. A few more times. Chin nods and up high. Remember, my bottom heel is super duper high. Let's do that 2 more times. Drop and reach, and then squeeze the legs and glutes together. So good. Last time. And then just go ahead and set the feet down. Bring your knees to the mat. Ooh, that's pretty fun. It's fun to get upside down. All right, repeat that with your other leg crossed over. So here we go. Start up, cross the new ankle over top, highest heel you can, and then start from your tail. Uncoil your spine, just get to a long line, and then we reverse head to tail to lift. Good, you breathe in whatever way feels the most helpful to you. All right, now when we're ready, end up in a more extended position, hips down, eyes and chest lift, and then we reverse. So good. Try not to lose all that nice articulation that we found, and then lengthen. All right, when you're ready, if you'd like, end up with the top leg high, and then stack the ankles and lift. Whew, a few more times. Curl and open, and then lower. 2 more times. Good. Strong shoulders. Push the floor away. Last time. All right. Come on down. Whew. Okay, roll your wrists out a little bit. All right. Thank you so much for joining me for today's advanced level workout. I hope you liked it. If you did, please leave me a thumbs up down below. Leave me a comment if you have any feedback or requests for future workouts. And be sure to subscribe to the channel, turn on your notifications, and share this video with a friend. And I'll see you next time. Bye.